Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a new video with me, Fuzzball40. As always, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe down below and make sure you turn your notifications so you never miss an upload. The morning video was going to be a Road to Glory video for you guys, but now it's going to be talking about the content on the game at the moment. I have got a lot of rares bought on my RTG account, so we can full send for League and try and get ourselves one of the big boys. But yeah, there's not any content in the game that I can realistically give you as a Road to Glory option because there's nothing to do. Like, there's Kimpembe. I don't think that's going to make a very good video, just me doing Kimpembe. The upgrade packs themselves aren't great. There's nothing else really that's worth doing to really engage you guys, engage myself. So, the Road to Glory, we're talking about that, the League SBC method issue, the fact that League SBCs are still broken. But because of that, it got me thinking, and one of my friends sent me over an article today about just how much money EA made in the last year. So a lot of the videos people have been talking about in terms of finance from EA have been sort of last year. They've only just started releasing the figures now in depth in terms of what they made as a company last year. And it was the terrible content today that got me like really wound up. It got everyone wound up, to be fair. And then when you see the figures they're bringing in and you see all of this sort of stuff, it makes you even more angry. But I think there's light on the horizon because I think EA are in trouble because more and more countries are starting to look at this now. So we'll start looking at this. So shout out to Engadget for this article. Basically, it's Chris Holt. So if you want to go at him for a brilliant article. Basically, it states and it says that, and it's true by the way, that EA are making roughly $3,000 a minute in the last year on Ultimate Team. $3,000 a minute from this game mode. It's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. Now, you have to be careful and caveat it always with any article. It says EA's Ultimate Team raked in 3k per minute. A substantial portion of that came from FIFA Ultimate Team. There's obviously Madden as well. You've got to be mindful of that. But it's proven to be a massive moneymaker for EA. In an annual financial report, the publisher said it made $1.62 billion from Ultimate Team modes in EA Sports games during the 2021 financial year. That means that they made about 3k a minute. It's been gathering pace over the last few years. You know about this sort of stuff, and it's ridiculous. But just take that on board for a minute. $3,000 a minute. We're not talking a day. We're not talking an hour. We are talking a minute. So in the time it takes me to record this video, my video is usually between 8 and 10 minutes long on a short one like this. EA are going to have made $30,000 in the time it takes me to record this video. That's the average wage for most people in the UK. Quite, I think, close to the average wage for people in America. That is mind-boggling. When you put it up like that, it is mind-boggling. And it's ridiculous. And net revenue for Ultimate Team accounted for 29% of EA's entire 5.6 billion net revenue. So Ultimate Team is 30% of what EA make as a company. Now think about all the games that EA make. Like, literally all the games they make, tons of them. Literally a third of their income comes from this one game mode within a game. Not even from the game itself. One game mode from within the game. This is not a don't go and spend your money on FIFA points like video because I've done that before. I'm not going to keep repeating myself left to right and centre. But you have to understand that that is a mind-boggling amount of money. But the thing that I'm seeing more and more and more is it being spoke about in the news. I saw a BBC News article in it today. It was someone talking. It was. I don't want to show it because I didn't get the person's permission to do it. But they were in the news. Technically, I could do it, but they were saying that basically it led to their gambling addiction. They lost their house. They lost everything, basically. Lost their marriage. Because he started by doing FIFA Ultimate points, so Ultimate Team points and whatnot. Then went into bigger gambling. And as he grew up and grew up and grew up, the gambling got worse and worse and worse. He married what was his wife. And then they divorced because basically he lost everything. I felt horrendous for him. It's terrible. But more and more it's being spoken about in the mainstream media. Because it's inevitably going to when this sort of money is being brought in. When this sort of money is being brought in. And this is what I want to show you here. So this year, they said they made 1.62 billion. So this is the spread out for the last year. So 2015, 587 million. And it keeps climbing until last year, the last financial year before the one just released, 1.49 billion. It's gone up another 100 million last year. Despite the COVID pandemic, it's gone up by $100 million. Now, the thing that frustrates me about this is if we were getting some sort of good value for money within the game itself, I wouldn't care. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like that anyone can do it. I think there should be an age limit on this game. I think if you're going to have a element to this game that is what I believe to be gambling, then the game should be an 18 plus rated, or that game mode should you don't be able to get in there for 18 plus. I don't know how they do that. I do have sympathy in that sense. But 120 million roughly increase, 130 million that would be, is mind-boggling figures. But we get nothing for it. We get absolutely nothing for it because the content this year has been substandard. The gameplay this year has been substandard. And what frustrates me the most is that we all know this, but Ultimate Team props up a lot of EA's games. So EA are able to go and make the games they make and bid and buy rights to games like just on F1 because of the money that Ultimate Team frees up and makes them. And it always seems to me like the FIFA franchise gets the biggest bum deal when it comes to content or anything like that. We get the bum deal and everybody else in every other game seems to get it a bit better. Now, I'm not saying all of them. I know Star Wars has its issues as well. But Madden, for example, in Madden, they get given loads of freebies all the time and loads of like awesome different bits of content that we don't get on FIFA at all. It's almost as if EA have come to see like FIFA and us as cash cows. They can utilise us as much as they can because of the addiction that's there, the fact that it's such a popular game. Take the money out of us and then give it to other games which may not sell as well or they want to have the ownership to, and they take that and become owners of that by using the money that we give them. And there's nothing back in return. However, I was reading the article and I knew this was the case, but I didn't realise it was actually coming so soon. But obviously we know Belgium banned loot boxes, we're aware of that fact. The Netherlands determined that foot packs violate the Dutch Betting and Gaming Act. So I don't think they'll ban them, and I don't agree with banning them. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't agree with banning loot boxes or packs or surprise mechanics, whatever you want to call them. But I think there should be an age regulation on them in the exact same way that you have with betting shops. Because again, my definition of betting is putting your money into something, hoping you get something back in return. Like, so for betting, it's money. With the lottery, it's money. With FIFA, it's putting money into packs, hoping you get a good player back in return. That's what it is, basically. But the UK's Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport have commissioned a report on loot boxes. I knew that had happened. I didn't realise it was coming later this year, and I looked, and it is, I think, in the diary, technically. It's supposed to be coming out in October, which would be incredibly interesting, because that's pretty much when the next FIFA title launches. So it's going to be a hell of interesting to see how that will impact, and what impact that will have on the launch of FIFA. Will it delay it? Will it change it up? Will we suddenly in the UK not be able to buy FIFA points? And I doubt it. The UK aren't the sort of country, I think, to go and competition ban someone like that. They just don't do that. But I do think something will happen along those lines. But also, the Federal Trade Commission over in America, they're investigating loot boxes. It's at a time of first process. It's going to hold a public workshop on August the 7th. So literally in 2 months' time, not even that now. No, it's 2 months. Yeah, 2 months' time. In 2 months' time, they're going to be looking into it. And it seems to all be coming to a head at the moment as FIFA's sort of planning for their new game. Because what tends to happen now is that the production of FIFA 22 steps up quite greatly. You start to get FIFA 20 starts coming towards its end in the next month or two, and then the sort of marketing campaign starts for FIFA 22. However, if all this stuff is happening as FIFA 22 is being developed, there is a real possibility that things change from next year. Even more than that, EA started doing that store where you could buy the cosmetic items from the store directly, if you remember, those kits. I do wonder if that was planning for the fact that they might have to sell stuff directly in the store rather than loot boxes, if they're already readying themselves for that fact. So rather than open up FIFA points, you can go and buy Neymar and then list him on the market yourself. You're guaranteeing what you're getting that way. You're guaranteeing it by going and buying Neymar from the store, because then it's no longer gambling, it's spending money on an item. I do wonder whether that was EA testing it out because they know that this is coming. And I've got to be honest with you, I wouldn't have an issue with that. If EA were to sell those players standardly on the game for whatever price they're set at, number one, it would be a problem for them, I think, because they'd have to try and put a value on those players. It'd be very difficult. But at least people would know what they're getting. So let's say Neymar was on the store for £79.99. I don't know what it's going to cost. At least you'd know what you were getting when you go and buy that Neymar card. You'd know you're getting that card. Question mark would be whether the market would still exist and you'd be able to sell Neymar for what you want to sell him for. But I do wonder if because of this happening, they're starting to see it. Either way, I genuinely believe EA are screwed. I think there's a big problem about to hit the fan in 2-3 months' time when all of these reports, commissions, workshops come to a head. And if these countries decide, actually, no, we don't like what you're doing, that's going to be a massive rework of a whole game, the whole of FIFA 22. I have my doubts that they will do anything about it because it's been around for long enough now. They even had EA in front of Parliament in the UK and it didn't make a difference. But if this comes to a head in the next month or two, 3 months even, especially if it gets towards August, September, it's going to have massive ramifications for EA if it doesn't go the way they expect it to go. But let that sink in for a minute. $3,000 a minute. In the time it's taken to record this video, EA have made $30,000. $30,000 in the time it's taken me to record this video. If you're new around here, make sure you subscribe down below. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss an upload. But for now, I am out. Peace out. I'll speak to you soon.